G'day, Professor Joseph Drew here. Some of you may have heard that I'm coming down to Federation Council to do some work for your council. In this video, I'll explain who I am, what I'm doing, and how you can help. Indeed, it's not just me that's doing this work, it's a whole team of us, but let me talk a little bit about myself first. So I'm a Professor of Economics at the University of Newcastle, former head of the Australian Centre for Excellence in Local Government. I'm adjunct professor at a number of universities abroad, which is quite unusual, so it sort of tells you that I must know what I'm doing. Other people think I know what I'm doing at least. You can look at my publication record. If you go and Google Scholar and type in my name, you'll see that I've published 80 odd papers. To get a scholarly publication, you don't just write the paper, you write it. 2 or 3 people have to do what they call peer review. They have to check it, make sure it's up to the world's best standard, and then it gets published. So my publication record is actually considered quite good, and I'm author of 5 books that you can see up there on the screen, and I'm currently trying to write a 6th book, but obviously that's going to be on hold for 3 months because I'm working for you guys to help you out instead. But it's not just me, it's a team of professors. So the other 2 people involved, Professor Ferreira from IST in Portugal. I'm adjunct at that university. It's one of the best universities in Europe. And Professor Ferreira and his boss, Rui Marques, are the world leaders in efficiency and scale analysis. And they'll be doing your efficiency and scale analysis. You will literally be getting the best in the world work. So that's another person part of the team. The third person, I couldn't find a photo, Masato Miyazaki, professor at Saitama University and a colleague for a number of years. I'm adjunct professor over in Japan as well. He is one of Japan's leading figures in local government economics. He has great empirical skills, but his main role in this work will be to answer any technical questions I have, but also to provide the community with additional assurance. At the end of the job, he'll be reading the report, he will be critiquing it, basically peer reviewing my work, and he will write a letter to the community and let you know what he thinks of it, where he disagrees or agrees, and what else he thinks might improve matters. So I can't overemphasize how important it is that it is a team, and that 2 of the team are outside of the country, completely independent, completely free of bias. We all have bias. I have bias, you have bias. We lived through the amalgamations. We all have opinions about them. So that's why it's so important to have those 2 outsiders providing you with that additional assurance that it is all robust and rigorous, and most importantly, free of bias. So what have I been asked to do? I've been asked to examine the sustainability of council with reference to section 263(3) of the Local Government Act. Now, if you're not in the habit of reading the Local Government Act every night before you go to bed, let me tell you what's in it. Basically, this is part of the Act that tells the Minister and the Boundaries Commission what factors they must examine in order to make a recommendation to amalgamate you, which happened back in 2016. Now, there's 11 factors. The first factor is about the financial advantages and disadvantages, economies and diseconomies of scale. You probably heard an awful lot about that back in 2016. That was most of the focus, but there's 10 other factors, and most of the other factors are all about people, because that's the most important thing in local government. People. People is what makes local government work, staff, and people is why we have local government, to help you guys cooperate together to achieve everything you want to be. So I think a lot more emphasis has to be on the people, and there's some really important things in there that were neglected a little bit in the past. So how can the diverse communities be represented after the amalgamation? What is the best political structure, wards, number of councillors, whether we have a directly elected mayor or not, and also the impacts on staff, which was very narrowly interpreted during the amalgamation debates, much to my disappointment. Staff go through a lot during the amalgamation. All the work to actually do the amalgamation is additional work on top of what they already had to do, which was a full-time job. Staff went through an awful lot of stress actually executing the amalgamation, but staff are also often been under a lot of stress subsequent to the amalgamation. They had constraints put on them by legislation, constraints put on them by the state government, and most staff in local government just want to help you. That's why they joined local government in the first place. And a lot of them feel bad that they haven't been able to help you as much as they would like subsequent to the amalgamation in some amalgamated councils. So I will be focusing a lot on the staff also. But there's three big questions here. How did the amalgamation go? More importantly, or interestingly, is how does that amalgamation contribute to the recent request for a special rate variation? What are the new challenges for federation? We've had a change of government. The government that forced the amalgamations is now not in power, and that has political and perhaps financial implications for federation. So what do we do about that? And more broadly, how can we improve matters? I'm very conscious of the fact that your community's had to pay my university and other universities a lot of money to do this work. I personally get nothing out of it. In fact, I always lose my receipts, so I always end up out of pocket out of it. And I'm absolutely determined to make sure we give back more value than what it cost you to do this work. There's new revenue streams that can be found. Some people sometimes think the only source of revenue is rates. There it isn't. Grants are really important, and I've already seen some anomalies in the grants which suggest to me that that might be a source of additional revenue. So I'll be looking at those things very closely with the intent of producing far more value than it ever cost you to do this work, not just this year, but for ongoing years, for many, many years to come. So what is my approach? This is an evidence-based inquiry. I only deal with evidence, not in warm and fuzzies, not in opinions. It doesn't really get us very far. So what's actually happening is I'm coming down this Sunday. I'm flying down in my own time on Sunday. So I'm fresh and ready to go 6 a.m. Monday morning. And I'll be there Monday and Tuesday and departing Wednesday afternoon. And I'm hoping to talk to lots of stakeholder groups, lots of staff, and lots of people just out in the community when I'm out and about. And what I'm really doing at this stage is asking questions. How do you think it went? What do you think we can improve? What's your ideas for the future? Where do you think the problems are? But I don't just take your answers and run with them. I take your answers and then I go back to my office here in Moonbi, 40 k's out of Tamworth, that's where I live on my farm, and I subject the ideas that I get from you guys to empirical inquiry, i.e. I find evidence to either support what you've told me or to refute what you told me. And on that basis, I'll then make a whole heap of recommendation to your council as to how we feel we can best improve matters for you. So it's absolutely critical we remember what a council, what any government is all about. I'm a natural law philosopher. My first degree was in physical maths and molecular genetics. My second one was in theology. My third one was a master's in accounting. My last degree was a PhD in economics. So I cover a broad range of things, but I'm very interested in natural law philosophy. I don't know if you've ever asked yourself, what is the purpose of government? And there's only one robust, legitimate purpose of government, and that is to help people to meet their needs by cooperating together. And that's why I'm so focused on people, not so much on numbers. So you can help me. You are the people in this community that I want to thrive, and I want you to help you to thrive. But in order to get to that stage, you need to help us as well. So if you see me walking around town asking you questions, or if you're one of the stakeholder groups I'm meeting with, can you please answer my questions? Obviously, I'm not going to get to talk to everyone, sadly. There's only one of me, and I'm down for a few days. But I'll be doing as much talking as possible. So if I come up to you, say good day, help me out, give me some answers. Please attend the forum. In October, around mid-October, there will be a public forum where I present my findings, and I will also ask you some questions and ask you to complete a survey at the end of that forum. It's really important that you turn up to that forum. All of us like to complain about our local government. I certainly do lots of complaining about Tamworth. But when we get the opportunity to participate and to contribute and to help make it better, we need to take the opportunity, turn up, listen, and give our thoughts at the end of it through those surveys. And finally, there will be a report in full. Everything I do is completely open and transparent. That's a condition of me working for any council, and you will get to see everything. Do not get thinking that I will be led astray by council or anything else. Remember, this is an evidence-based inquiry. If I'm told stuff from council, I will ask to see the source document. You can have absolute assurance that the facts I give you at the end, they may not be the facts you want to hear, but they will be the facts. I will be working off source documents. Any opinion I'm given, I will be checking with at least 2 or 3 other people. You can have absolute assurance at the end of this process that the report you read will be the facts, and it will be the best blueprint for moving forward, for improving matters, and for helping everyone in Federation to thrive. Look, thanks very much for listening to me. If you want to find out more about local government, I actually have a YouTube site. Type in Professor Joseph Drew, and if you find those videos helpful, please send them around. Please subscribe, and I look forward to meeting as many of you as I can next week. Thank you very much. Goodbye.